Good evening, everyone. My name is Shivani Sudhakar. I'm studying in class 12 of DPS Whitefield. I'm a design student and I'm conducting this in live interactive session with Miss Sunehra Koshy.
Hi.
Hello,
Happy to
ma'am. Uh, Dhanak is the culmination of our children's creative expressions, an opportunity to explore the world through their eyes. Dhanak literally means rainbow, which signifies a celebration of colors. We started Dhanak in 2019. It is a brainchild of design students who were guided by the extremely talented faculty of the Design and Visual Art Department. The main objective of Dhanak is to appreciate art and artisans. DPS Whitefield is proud to present its third edition of Dhanak with lots of interesting workshops and interactive sessions. Our guest for this live session is Ms. Sunehra Koshy. Um, Sunehra Koshy is a self-taught paper artist obsessed with creating all kinds of handmade cards and gifts. She started Crack of Dawn Crafts with her own venture of handmade paper crafted products in April 2014. Crack of Dawn Crafts is devoted to creating unique handmade gifting and event supplies. These products include invitations, birth announcement boxes, baby shower supplies, baby scrapbooks, albums, message books, money and envelopes, and more. The name Crack of Dawn was based on her preferred time to craft. When she first started pursuing the hobby, being a mother of two young children, she only had time after the kids were asleep, which is why she crafted till the crack of dawn. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Uh, my first question to you is, what made you interested in paper crafting?
Well, I was always interested in craft as a child. I think my mom got me into it. I used to do embroidery and knitting and origami and any type of craft. And it just was something that remained like paper construction. As I got older, I just generally enjoyed doing these kinds of things. I was pretty neat and good at it. I was always creatively inclined. So um, actually, it was after I'm a banker by profession, and I was working for a bank, and it was going well. But then my son was born, and I wanted to spend time with him, and so then I started. The bank was not letting me work from home, so I had to figure out what I was interested in, and I got interested in, and I thought, okay, I'm interested in craft, and I'm also a good writer, so I reached out to a craft supplies company called Itsy Bitsy, which you all might know. It was very unknown then. And I asked Itsy Bitsy, I told Itsy Bitsy, I'm a good writer. I can do your blog and your feed. So they said, sure, you can do it. And that's how I started writing for Itsy Bitsy. But as I started, I got really interested. I mean, they have so many supplies, and I got more and more into the products. And they were too busy to make the projects to send to me for me to write about. So then I started saying, shall I make the projects? And they said, yeah,
Sunehra
go
ma'am,
ahead.
we are not able to hear. Can you please
Okay, is it
go
better
ahead?
now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So Itsy Bitsy was happy for me to make the projects, and I started making using their supplies and then writing about it. And I just did over a period of time, I became better at it. I started getting orders for it. I started, having exhibitions, and people would buy everything. And I started seeing that it was a possible business idea, and that's how I made it my profession.
That that's interesting, ma'am. Ma'am, my second question to you is, how do you come up with the designs for your products?
Oh, inspiration is everywhere. All of you who are design students must be experiencing this. Like sometimes you'll have a complete block and you won't be able to come up with anything. And sometimes ideas will just flow. So, for example, I'm now designing DIY craft kits, and they're for little girls. So I was thinking, okay, I'll make a princess DIY kit because that's what girls are into. And then I talked to my daughter and her friends, and they were like, yeah, princess is cool, but why don't you make a makeup craft kit? Where we make eyeshadow and and blush and all that. And then my daughter said, why don't you make a pizza DIY kit? So for me, and I've made those kits. They're part of my product range now. So for me, inspiration comes very much from people around me. It also comes from customers. I can't tell you how many products, almost all my products are the result of some customer saying, do you have this? And then I'm like, I don't, but I can make it. And that's how I make it. And very often it becomes a key product in my catalog.
I see. Um, what are your favorite and least favorite parts of your craft?
The favorite is, of course, designing. Ultimately, the hobby was designing and creating something, pretty and something that I liked. And so, even today, when I'm designing a new product and then watching it come to life, that's the best part. The not so great parts are like if you're doing a business, there are all these boring things you have to do, like accounting, tax, filing, supporting your staff, all these kinds of things which are they're not directly productive. So that is what I don't particularly enjoy. Like even today, right now, I'm in Goa on a holiday, but I found out that something was wrong with my GST data, so I have to sit here and work on Excel sheets in Goa. So that's what's lousy about it. So if you're doing it as a business, then this is the byproduct. But if you're doing it as a job where you're only responsible for the design part, I can't think of what you probably won't enjoy about it.
That makes sense, ma'am. Um, what was your motivation when times were tough?
So times have been tough. COVID has really hit my business, and I guess what drives me is one is the profound belief that it is a viable business, that there is a market for my products. So that drives me. And the second thing is my team, my staff. They have been with me. Many of them have been with me from the beginning, 7 years. Even if it's 4 years or 5 years, it's 5 years of their life, which they have given me, building their experience in a business, which is, like what can they say later that they do? They are paper crafters. Who's going to give them a job? So very much what motivates me or what drives me is to keep this going so that because my people are the principal, many of them are the principal bread earners for their families. So these two things. One is I believe it's a viable product. I believe there's a market for what I sell, and I want to support my staff who have supported me for so many years.
That's very heartwarming, ma'am. Uh, when and how did you start profiting from the business?
So with respect, like any business, you design products and then you kind of hope it'll click. So for me, it took like three years before I designed a product that clicked, and then there was no turning back. And by getting that product, it's like I understood what customers liked. So you're constantly launching things which you like. As a designer, that's what you do. And any design, if you look at any, whether it's fashion design, a fashion line, or a line of linen, or a line of ceramic ware, or whatever, designers are designing what they think is going to click or is going to, appeal to customers. But very often it doesn't. What you think is nice is not necessarily what customers like. And that's why you find influencers like film stars and models or whatever to endorse it and say, I like this design. So like that, I designed hundreds of things and I launched hundreds of things. And then everything was like I would be able to sell it, but it wasn't like it was really doing very well. But about 3 years into my business, I designed a product that clicked. And when I by design, the price was right, the design was right, the style was right, the interactive elements were right, and all that made it successful. And then I knew what my customers wanted, and I designed variations of this, which I've continued to design till today. So I feel design is like trial and error. unless you're already an established brand, it's hard to figure out what customers like, and you're very much going by your own aesthetic. Well, this is one of, I guess, my peeves about my business, that I'm not able to make what I personally like, because my style aesthetic, customers don't like it much. I'm into, pastels and soft florals and stuff like that, but that won't sell as much as rich colors and magenta and paisley and, ethnic patterns. So as much as so I've kind of accepted that whatever I like the most will be the least successful. And I've got 2 3 girls in my team who, they will tell me, ma'am, this is the best, and that will be the one that sells. So I always ask them, which do you like the best, because their style aesthetic is more mirroring what customers seem to like.
Yes, ma'am. Um, how did the pandemic affect your business, and what measures did you take?
So the pandemic really hit my business. It continues to hit my business because it's not ending. I'm sure you guys are also utterly frustrated with this last 2 years, last 1.5 years. Um, I I had a store in Orion Mall which I had to close because of the pandemic. I couldn't afford the rent, and I didn't believe people would go to malls anymore. So I had to close the store. Sales has been hit because, I guess, I mean, you don't know why. You can only blame it on the pandemic because it happened immediately after the pandemic. But I don't know why. I don't know what's changed. Is it that my products are gifting, and so people are not meeting anymore, so therefore they are not gifting? Or is it because they're out of jobs, or they're short of cash, so they don't have this? I don't know. So, but all I know is there is a dip. So to kind of deal with it, what I've had to do is accept that, I mean, or rather decide that this is not, I cannot just do what I was doing. I have to launch something new which will support, which will sustain me during this pandemic phase. And that's how I started doing DIY craft kits for children, because kids are at home and they've got nothing to do, and parents want to engage them away from the screen. I am a parent of a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, and I know how difficult it is to engage my kids. So, and I also wanted to stay in my line, which is paper craft. So the way I'm trying to survive this is to design these kinds of products, which are totally different. And it's like starting a new business because the market is completely different. My market is now parents. My customers are the user of the product is not the person buying it. That's a very key difference. The user is a child, and the person buying it is their parent. So I have to appeal to both. um, and the price point, and the design element is much more, because the product has to have packaging which the buyer can see what is the activity involved. Whereas my other products like albums and scrapbooks, nobody cared about the packaging. But for a toy, it has to look really attractive, because the parent is giving it to the child, or the aunt or uncle is giving it to a child. The child must feel like, wow, what, look at what I got. The instructions require so much of design because it has to be really attractive, pictorial, and the words that are used have to be such that a child can understand. And then we also make a YouTube video for all our DIY kits, which my daughter, I make her do it, and just to show that a child can do it. So that also requires so much of design, like the graphic before, the graphic after. Even the table where she does the craft, I stage it because all this is, what? Sorry, somebody said something. So yeah, so that's how I'm surviving. My business is down, but I'm trying new product lines to stay relevant.
Yes, ma'am. Um, how has your business changed from now and when you first started out?
So when I started, I was the only one doing this. There were many crafters, paper crafters, who were hobbyists, who were taking orders and doing it on a very small scale. I was the only one who, was doing it quite elaborately. I had hired a space, I had staff, um, I I was kind of, I got like GST number and, all these kinds of things. So now, I guess because of me, and even on Amazon, I was the first one to be selling these kinds of products on Amazon and Flipkart and all that. So now, 7 years later, it's far more crowded. There's a lot of people doing what I'm doing. This kind of product, this kind of industry, there's a very low entry barrier. It's not like, like fabric design and all that, and fashion design. There's an entry barrier. You have to make the dresses. You have to you have to have the you have to put a lot of money into printing the material and that kind of stuff. But in my type of thing, anybody can do it. You can sit at home and do it. And so, because there's a very low entry barrier, there are many people coming in, and the customers are not really particular about the brand or the quality. They're just looking for the best price. So that's what the difference is. Back in the beginning, I was the only one. Now it's flooded, and whenever something gets successful, you're going to get copied. Samsung copied Apple, so I take it as a compliment that obviously it was so successful that it had to be copied. But I take heart that nobody can copy my brain, so my ideas are mine alone. So while they're copying my previous idea, I'm on to the new one.
Who are your biggest supporters through your journey?
Oh, I've got a wonderful family, and my husband, he from the beginning is like, go for it. My kids have grown up with this business. Crack of Dawn is their, it's very much their business. My parents, everyone around me, my in-laws, it's like, I really would have to say that, a business takes a lot out of you. You're working all the time. And so you ideally should have a support system that understands it and tolerates it and encourages it. Um, I don't have a partner, so a lot of my friends who are business owners have partners. So you can bounce off ideas from with other people. But for me, I don't have that. It's just me. So my husband is really my partner in this whole thing. I mean, whenever I'm stressed out or worried about something, he's the one I'll talk to. And I just need someone to hear me out. Just speaking helps me very often handle it. So for anyone embarking on this line, anything you're doing in general, I would say you should have a supportive spouse or family, because that really makes you better at it. You don't have the stress of having to explain it to your family.
Your entire family supports you,
Yeah.
and that's
Like right now, I'm in Goa and I'm like, this is work, right? Nobody cares. They're like, yeah, go ahead. Yesterday, we were doing the sort of prep for this, and we were on the beach. And I just told everybody, listen, I got to take this call. And everybody's like, yeah, whatever. So that's the thing. Nobody's like, you need that kind of support. Otherwise, it's very hard. And I'm not just saying for a business, I'm saying for any work. You need to, that you're with the right person if they support you.
where can we purchase your products?
So we are available online on crackofdawncrafts.com. We are also on amazon.in. We are on flipkart.com. We sell on firstcry.com, thenestery.in, I think. We also are now shortly going to be selling in the United States, then hopefully UAE. My shipment is heading there at the moment. So you can basically online, and those who want to walk into our studio can walk in as well in Banaswadi.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to say, viewers, you can write all your questions in the chat box. Feel free. Um, Ma'am, what tips or advice would you give to people who wish to pursue a career similar to yours?
I guess as a designer, you guys are all design students. So I guess what I would say is that designing is when you're doing it academically, and when you're doing it as a hobby, you are doing what you like. But when you are doing it as a business or a job or anything which involves money, you can't just design what you like. You will be given parameters, and you will be given um, guides, I suppose, like as so for me, I'm in charge of myself, but I still have these guidelines that, like for Rakhi, I have to design. I cannot design something which looks like, like an English tea party. It has to look festive. It has to have gold and red and all those kinds of colors, rich colors. So when you're design, my advice is you have to like be mindful of your customers and your audience, your boss, your team, your whatever, whoever you're selling to, because you're not doing it for yourself. If you're doing it for yourself, do what you want. But once it becomes a business or anything which involves money, you have to really adjust your design. And I wouldn't say give it up. I always i always incorporate my style aesthetic in whatever, in within the constraints, so that I feel that you can recognize my products, because there is a certain look to it, which even though it's ethnic or it's whatever, you can make out this is a crack of dawn, this is Sunehra's product. My friends and all say we can make it. So you keep hold true to your design, but make sure it is within the parameters that your customers need.
So, our viewers wanted to know, how did you start advertising your products?
Yeah, so I started in 2014 when there was no Instagram. Okay, so you guys are the Instagram generation too. We are the Facebook generation. So all I had to do was, everybody created a Facebook page. I also created a Facebook page, and I put my products, photos of my products, and then people started messaging me and saying how much PP. PP means price, please. So then I would reply. Then I found it so irritating. I just put the product photo with the price. And then people would write to me, and then I would reply. A lot of it was on WhatsApp. And then after a while, I started like Facebook has promotion tools, so you can pay some money and it will show your post to more people. And then Instagram happened. I think I missed the bus, so I joined late. And then Instagram is the same thing. I've worked with influencers, and I've, especially with DIYs, I'm trying. It's very tricky actually to find. So I'm doing it all on social. And the other thing to advertise is, if you're selling on the marketplaces like Amazon and Flipkart and all that, there are ways there which you can advertise, so your products get visible there. Yeah, it's expensive. The key is to just keep posting, I guess, and hope, pray that people respond. I feel if it is a product that clicks, people will respond, even if you don't have all the social networking that others have.
What are your target customers?
So I have like two verticals now. One is the original group, which is the gifting range. These are products like what you're seeing on the screen. They are standalone products. Like this is a love scrapbook. So the kind of customer who buys this would be in the age range of 18 to maybe 29, 30, man or woman who wants to give something to their girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, like that. So that is one type of customer. I have a variety of gifts for this type of a customer. My second vertical is the whole DIY craft kit range, which is for mums, aunts, uncles, whatever, of children between the age of 7 to 12, 7 to maybe 14, who are looking for activities for their children to keep them engaged. Uh, uh, Activities for their craft loving children. It's very key that only craft loving kids enjoy these products. I've seen that generally kids don't. It has to be a child who is interested in craft. I also do a lot of like invitations, baby albums, things like that. So those are all for like new mums or mums of small children. So they want to do like the first birthday is a grand event. So then they will purchase birthday invitations from me. So the products I sell a lot on First Cry and Nestery will be the baby sort of stuff. And Amazon will be more of this love stuff. So I've got a wide range of customers.
Yes, ma'am. Are your designs for masses or classes?
For classy masses. I feel, the key to being successful is it has to be for the masses. So the way you make it for the masses, it has to be cheap. And the way and then you got to keep it classy, because this is, you're a designer. You don't want to, you can't put your name on something which you don't like, right? So that's what I always now, I mean, in the beginning, I was like thinking, I'm not going to sit and sell these cheap things. That's not who I am. And then another business owner to advise me, she said, you are thinking like this now, but after a while, you're going to realize that you need something which is cheap, because the masses are not going to buy these things which are 1,200, 1,500. And then I quickly learned I had to do that. So figure out how to make it classy for the masses.
Yes, ma'am. Um, we are happy to see our principal, ma'am, Kama Bopana here. Ma'am, do you want to ask any questions?
Good evening, everyone. I'm just quite interested in what ma'am is talking about. So I'm also learning a lot. So I think I would listen to her more than I could contribute anything. But it is very interesting to hear how she has started this and how she has moved on. Thank you so much. And it is really, really very interesting.
Thank you. I'm glad you're finding it interesting. And I must compliment this. I had no idea that you could do design in your 11th and 12th. You guys don't know how lucky you are. Okay, like I had to do commerce or science, and I can't stand science. So it was just commerce. And now I mean, this is fantastic for you to be able to choose something like this. It's just great.
Archie Prakash,
Follow your dreams, guys. Take it forward.
Arshana, Arab Chanwal.
Um, I'll read this message out for you, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. So as you had said that your business is expanding in USA also. So as the expansion is taking place, do you get any new ideas to add in your business? Can you suggest on how we get ideas for our own?
See, you guys are a design student. Anybody who's in design is by nature creative. So how you get the ideas, that's your talent. You will get the ideas because you are creative, right? So I am sending my products there, and I'm thinking that I'm hoping that the products that I'm sending there will appeal to the people there. So how I get the ideas, I get inspiration from everywhere. And like for example, I went to this, of course, I went to Santorini, which is a town in Greece some years ago, and everything there is blue and white. Kind of a turquoise blue, like it's so pretty. I can't tell you. Just like all the houses are white and all the windows will be blue. If you'll have seen that Mamma Mia movie, it's like that. But it was so inspiring. So I came back and I made a whole bunch of cards which were white with just pops of turquoise and maybe like a little bit of fuchsia or magenta. They have a lot of geraniums and bogenas. That kind of color. So inspiration is everywhere, and I find for me sometimes I'll be like, okay, I got to do the Diwali range, and I know ideas will be coming, and I'll spend 1 month thinking, shit, thinking, what should I do? What should I do? And nothing will come and I don't like it. And then finally it'll click. And one night I'll be able to do the whole thing. So what I would say is your customers, respect your customers. Don't think you can just wing it and do something quickly. Take your time, because if you don't 100% love it, your customers are not going to like it. So if it's not like, you take your time, design properly, do multiple iterations, and until you're really happy with it, then only launch. So for example, this product which you're looking at right now, I had designed it in craft, that brown craft paper with red roses and some black. So that was craft, white, red, and black. It looked fantastic. And it just came together. I just was playing with these colors and I just put it together and it looks so good. And it is still now one of our top sellers, that product. And then because it was doing well, I thought, okay, maybe some people would like a pink version and maybe some people would like a red version. And that's how I've come up with the pink one, which is also doing well. And the red one is actually least. Imagine, you would think a Red Heart album would be the most popular, but no, not so.
Yes, ma'am. Um, Ma'am, what are the criteria that your products must check out before the final product is launched? How do you ensure quality in your products?
Well, the criteria is really I have to love it. It has to be within a certain price point. If it's going to be too expensive, in fact, I don't even design it. Before I actually make the prototype or before I do the designing, I sit and work out how much it's going to come to. If it's going to come to too much, I won't even make it. So the first criteria is does it fit the price? Because there's no point otherwise. And the second is do I really love it? Is it something that I really like and I'm proud of? And then the quality check is, so I've got a team and everything that is made by one person is checked by another person. So they after it's made, they will check it and then only they will pack it. The DIY kits is particularly tricky. I thought it'd be so easy because you're not making anything. You're just putting the pieces in a box. But if you miss one piece, customers will just flip out. So the kid will be like, what? and then, I mean, I got such terrible reviews. So I have like extra checks for the DIYs. The job of one team, one girl will pack it and the other girl will check it to the point where everything has to be checked. And suppose she finds something is missing, she cannot put it in the box. Suppose she finds the envelope piece is missing. She's not allowed to put the envelope piece in the box. She has to send it back. That girl will put the envelope piece and then it'll come back to her. She'll check it again. Because as long as there's a double check, two different human beings are looking at it, we are safe. The minute somebody thinks that, it's okay, I'll just quickly put this in, that's when mistakes have happened like that.
So your products are completely customized?
No, I don't care for this customization. I started like that. But customization is tough. You have to design all the time. All the time. Every product is a designing. So I prefer the products which I design and then I sell. If the maximum customization we do is we will add the photos, something to it. But people constantly send me pictures of something they've seen on Instagram or something where they've seen, can you make this? And I say, no, why don't you contact that person who made it? Then they say that person is not able to do it or that person is not free. So I say, I'm a designer. I don't want you sending my pictures to somebody else. So therefore you don't send me somebody else's pictures. We designers have to support each other. So I don't copy other people's designs. I might get inspired by them, but I'm very, very careful not to copy.
Yes, ma'am. Um, is renting a place for a business really necessary, or can we run our business from home and social media?
Yeah, I started like that. I was working from home, and then I started to grow, and there wasn't enough place. I also thought, why should I sit and spend money on a office and on a studio and all that? But then there was only so much place in my house, and suddenly you get more orders. In the beginning, I thought I'm making it. I'll hire one person. She can sit on the dining table, and then we can manage. But then I needed the second person, and the third person. Then I had material, where to keep the material. So one day my husband said, enough, you, you need to find a space. And very fortunately for me, right next door to my apartment, there was a space which became available that night. It was so fortuitous. So we moved in there, and I've been there ever since. I've taken the first floor now. So as far as possible, whenever you're doing a business, 100% be as conjuice as possible, spend as little as you can, have as little fixed cost as you possibly can. Fixed cost is things like this rent, because whether or not you get orders, you have to pay the rent. So that's a fixed cost. So as far as possible, try to keep your costs down, especially pandemic times, even more so. But there'll be a point where you feel you realize, okay, I can't do it in my studio. And so even when I went to my studio, I never bought furniture because I didn't know how am I going to, how successful is this going to be. So I just hired it. I went to Adams in Shivaji Nagar, and they had tables, and you pay per month. They had shelves, they had those slotted angle racks and things like that. I just hired the whole lot. And then after a few months, when I was confident that this is going to be here, this is a sustainable business, I finally, not months, a few years, after 2 3 years, I gave up all the rented furniture and I bought the furniture. And that too, I didn't buy new furniture, I bought second-hand furniture. So even now, like, I never buy new furniture. So always keep your cost down. There's no need for the fancy space. Just control your cash, keep your cash.
Yes, ma'am. Um, Sunehra ma'am, on behalf of DPS Whitefield's students and teachers, thank you for taking the time to impart your knowledge of your craft with us. It was a pleasure to learn more about paper crafts and your business. Your enthusiasm and love for your craft has inspired us all, and this was a well-executed workshop that I'm sure the participants enjoyed greatly.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. All the very best to all you design students.
Thank you, ma'am. We are grateful for the time and effort you took to make our students experience a small part of your field. We hope you can join us again in the future.
I would be honored. And I'm very, very honored to be asked. It was a pleasure.
I'm glad, ma'am. If you want to know more about these live sessions, follow our Dhanak 2021 social media. Thank you for joining us and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.